Thank you very much, comrades. There is no gathering of the youth, a political school that we have called here for the youth, without singing revolutionary songs. A revolutionary song is part of political education. Part of the reasons that we have called this jazz hour, before I continue the greetings, it is because we have identified that what has worked in the dark days of exile of educating the youth, it can work today. And young people would love learning while having fun. That's a fact. You can give them a lot of modules and books to read. Many might not read. But I believe today when the veterans spoke here, when Mkonto Wesizo, the real one, spoke here, all of you learned that this freedom was not free. The reality is that this freedom was not free. Now go and greet the SASCO leadership that is here. I saw the Deputy President was also a Program Director. The President of COSAS. The leadership of the Women's League that is here. The leadership of MKWV that is here. The leadership of the ANC Veterans League. And the leadership of the ANC Youth League. The purpose of this jazz hour is to educate. When we started launching this jazz hour in Gauteng, many people don't understand the concept of common vessels. But yourselves and everyone else, the young people have gathered here in numbers, understand the importance of political education. And through the jazz hour, because the jazz hour mainly is not about the youth league coming here to speak, comrades of MK and comrades of the veterans. It is about the veterans passing on the message. In Gauteng, Comrade Vessels, we not even take 5 minutes as the youth league speaking. We only introduce Mam Thandi Modise to come and speak about her experiences in exile. In Women's Month in August, Comrade Vessels will be inviting all the women who were in exile to come and also speak about their stories in exile. There's less said about the women's role that have been played in exile. Now we've dedicated the August month jazz hour to the women that have been in exile. But also, you can't separate revolution from art. Even during those days, you had people who were selling the revolution and engaging the youth in all corners, utilizing music. Music or no, mainly kwa utono sams. Lebo pirimarungu, lebo tawa. But those days, Bob Prandafasi and many others, if you followed them, those who listened to their mother's music, because ourselves were not there. We learned from what we have heard. They were mainly singing about the revolution and the problems faced by our people. And I've called upon in my meetings with the pianos and all of them that I've engaged, that I request their new productions now, no matter how nice they are, they must sing about the social ills of this country. They must sing against rape. They must sing against drugs. They must sing against youth unemployment. They must sing against all the problems that face the youth and mobilize the youth to a revolution to make sure that all those ills are resolved. Already we're in poverty. Already we're dispositioned from our own economic activities of our own country. Can you imagine the only thing that we speak about or sing about every day is alcohol? We can't be that generation. We can't be a generation that has given up to a point whereby our only hope is left to alcohol. Now we're saying the music that must be produced, it must be the music that revives the spirits of the youth. It must be a music that speaks about school, speaks about all the problems that are faced by the youth. And we're saying, this jazz hour, I saw our artist here performing very well. We're saying these artists must start producing music that speaks about those problems. But I will not be making justice if I don't speak about the problems we're faced with. The biggest problems we're faced with in this country is youth unemployment. Baswa ba tshwere ke tlala. Baswa ba tletse diterata. From Monday to Monday, our townships, our rural areas, our towns have become holidays. While majority of raw materials in this country are here in our country. The Northwest alone has got so many mines that can employ a lot of young people of the Northwest. We're saying not more than 70% of our raw materials must leave this country. The raw materials must remain here to revive our industries and industrialize our economy. We're saying enough is enough. The people who have died for this country, they've never died for this country so that black people in the majority becomes face of poverty in this country. They died for the liberation of our people to be full participant in their own economic activities of their own country. Where we are today, we are dispositioned from all economic activities of our own country. And we are saying the revolution has not ended until the structure of the economy has changed. Because the structure of the economy, the way it is, majority which are youth, majority which are black, majority which are women, are not active in their own economic structure. They are dispositioned, they are in drugs, they are on alcohol, they are abused by their husbands every day. If they are married, they are in problems. And those who are dating, they know when you don't have data and airtime and money for Uber, you can't date. When you have no money for taxis, you can't date. Now, even your dignity is stripped when you are dispossessed from your own economy. Ujola jwange usina chelete. Now, even the basic thing ya mujolo, are kgone ho e dira ka hobane ha re bereki. Now, it is not yet Uhuru. Now, this jazz hour must revive that consciousness, must bring the youth back into politics, must bring the youth like the youth of the 1976 generation who left the country and went to exile to fight for the liberation. That spirit must be revived in your hearts and soul. It must burn until the structure of the economy is changed, until the youth of this country run this country. Pensioners. You can't say people at 65 must go to pension, but the one that makes the laws at 65, they're still working. You are going against your own laws. We must make sure that as much as our grandmothers at home, they are told to go to pension at 65, even those who are in parliament must go home when they reach 65. O ka se dire molao wa sa o sale morao. A o dira molao o sale morao. President Ramaphosa must be the last president who's a pensioner. The next president must not be a pensioner. We are done with pensioners. We are now instilling the youth with new energy. The ones who are not yet classified as pensioners as per constitution must be the ones who are MECs, mayors, councillors, directors, CEOs. Everything important in this country must be run by the youth. We can't have high level of unemployment of youth when you have pensioners who are working. Ai khonahale. Ai tlo etsahala. Ai khonahale. Jwang. That's why I agree with MKVA. We need a youth dialogue to unite all young people from all corners. It is us, the youth of this country, who must have a national dialogue before the national dialogue. The first national dialogue must be a dialogue of youth who must direct that national dialogue, because that national dialogue will have no direction if it's not directed by the youth of this country, which are majority. President Rimono wa kentse batho ba di rugby, o ba kentse batho ba mogela, o ba kentse ba ba di fees must fall, maar o lebetse o kenya batjha ba ba le mo groundong as part of the task team of the youth dialogue. A re raska ba kenya mara a ba kenye le ba ba tseba motlhako ka nnete. You can't have a task team of only bourgeois, and those who are suffering, who knows the truth, are not part of a task team of national youth dialogue. Now, if Pastor Kenyu ko yela ya bona yela, re karia ya rena national dialogue, ra ba fa di resolution ra ba di implement. As I've said, today is not about speeches, but I felt I must remind you why we're reviving your conscience. Because as Thomas Sankara have said, an unconscious soldier is a potential criminal. Now it's important that we don't breed criminals. We breed revolutionaries who will advance the agenda of their people, who will guard their communities against crime and all problems. We build youth that is focused on the agenda at hand. And this youth must be from ourselves, nobody else. Because we are not a lost generation. We are a focused generation that is revolutionary in character. That's why we are here in the ANC, fighting here in the ANC, not outside. Because we believe the ANC has got a platform for all of us with different views to advance our struggle. Lobone mokhatlo lo mocha ola ukuseng ba ntwe ke mkhonto wesizwe. Abakube. Every week ba ko ba motho. Abana agenda bona ko kuba batho. Le Floyd ile kwa ka mokhaba ba mokuba. Lo tlokang ba tlo mokuba. But I fully agree with you, Comrade of Mkhonto. There'll be one item I'll introduce to the youth league. We can't have youth league ya mekhaba bana. Kama sole ba jwang ba le mekhaba. Youth league ya jime. This revolutionary agenda requires a youth league that is healthy and gymming and ready to advance. Now, those guerrilla tactics, we're going to introduce them in our program of action. That every morning, everyone must gym, because you can't advance this revolutionary agenda. We need the youth to be healthy and fresh and be ready for the war. But also, comrades, as and when we criticize, we must also say where their goods are made. It's important. Just last week, through the influence of the Youth League, the president of the country has reinstated close to 210,000 young people in one day as assistant teachers in schools. Is what we demanded. We demanded that there must be an increase on education, there must be increased on health. And we're fighting very hard to protect our gains. We're fighting very hard that there must not be, those who are in school must stay in school, those who are not in school must enter school. Because I too say, nefsa se fe ba twa drop out, ba bang ba palle ko kena a. Ba ba keneng aba fetse, ba ba sa kenang ba kene. Because the biggest enemy is for us to sabotage our own progress. Ke a tsaya bohloko mara ke nnete. A re fetseng. And we are saying, those who are corrupt at NEFSAS, who are doing cheap accommodation and not giving allowances to students, must be fought with everything we have, because that money was put aside by government for the youth of South Africa, because they know that the youth need that money. I say, you dump kids in races that you'll not even put your kids there. Corruption. Resolve the injustice of the past, because the ANC has acknowledged that many black people can't afford to go to school because they are born from poor backgrounds. That's why the ANC government knows it must take them to school. Now, are defending revolution, the ANC, with everything we have, because if you don't do that, the gains of freedom will be reversed. Because if DA is in charge tomorrow, I can tell you now, all the little we say we have, will not even have it. Because the DA, Afro Forum, and many others, they don't believe that there was ever apartheid in South Africa. They believe that we're creating stories that was apartheid. They don't believe that blacks were depositioned from their own economic activities of their own country. They believe that blacks are lazy. They must compete with the same white people, which the government of that time gave them money and everything, gave them farms, they stole the land, they stole everything. When they say a person from a very poor background must compete with a child from a background that is rich, and they're saying that they are equals. It's impractical. Now we're saying today, with this chess hour, let's revive our conscience. Let's advance the revolution. It is not yet Auru, Aluta, Kontunua, Amandla.